main reasons why someone might fake a disorder is for attention that they're not getting. It can be because you're going through a hard time in your life and you find that as a way to cope. Today we are going to be going over a story in which a person is in a situation where they have to work, they have to begin adulting, which is really hard for a lot of us, and they found that faking illness would help them to not only not have to pay rent, but also gain sympathy from their ex, and hopefully they'll take them back. While other explanations can be like malingering, factitious disorders, in this story we can see how this person was cornered into a spot where they felt faking was the answer. I have a roommate who keeps escalating her fake disorder to the point that it's ridiculous to try to convince me and her ex to let her quit her job so she can play video games and stream on our dime. I have a weird situation where it is me, a married queer couple, who are currently getting divorced. I'm very close with one of them, Pam, and not close with the other, Dee Dee. They lived with Pam's parents for most of the time I've known them, and when I needed to move, I offered to help them move out into a place we share. Pam had a full-time job, but Dee Dee is an immigrant and was waiting for her green card to come in. I said that I wouldn't mind covering the costs that may come up if they could pay me back when Dee Dee got her job, or she could maintain the house and I'll call it even. They agreed and we moved in together, and it's been hell ever since. Apparently, without Pam realizing, Dee Dee has been taking advantage of how much of a neat freak Pam's mom is. Dee Dee is a total slob. Genuinely the messiest, grossest person that I've ever met. She said she wanted to clean to make up stuff I was paying for instead of paying me back, but wouldn't clean it all for weeks. I ended up telling her that we weren't going to do that anymore because we're cleaning up after her as well as anything she didn't clean, which was nearly everything. Eventually, she gets her green card and starts working, and paying her part of the rent and everything. Never anything more though, just the bare minimum required. She doesn't even pitch in for household necessities, toilet paper, cleaning supplies, or otherwise, unless Pam tells her to. She also expects Pam and me to parent her, remind her of any task that needs to be done or anything she has coming up, otherwise she pretends like she forgot. Maybe it's petty, but I am not okay living with a slob I did not agree to live with. It feels like she lied not just to me, but to Pam too. Dee Dee's failings causes Pam to give Dee Dee an ultimatum. Fix her or break up. Dee Dee chooses to break up, and they decide to keep things civil and not move out because they don't want to break the lease and whatever. We have an extra room Pam was paying for to have an office anyway, so that was largely preference. Since they broke up, Dee Dee has begun pathologically lying about everything. It began with claiming she'd done chores that she was supposed to do, claiming she forgot or otherwise, drying dishes with the towel we dry our hands with that hadn't been washed in weeks, and then feigning like she didn't realize what she was doing, eating all the food I buy or Pam and I buy to share, and then acting like she bought it, even when I started labeling my stuff, saying she did one thing while we saw her do the opposite, nearly constantly. Almost every word out of her mouth was a lie or feigning ignorance or pretending like she forgot to do something, and it's been maddening. I feel like I'm going crazy. Most recently, Dee Dee has begun begging for Pam back, but Pam realizes how toxic she is and doesn't want her back. This has caused Dee Dee to go to her wit's end to make Pam pity her and go back to her. At first, Dee Dee started acting sick all the time, which Pam ignored. Dee Dee started telling me little stories whenever she saw me about how awful her day was because she was sick, usually right when her chores needed to be done. I'm not really sympathetic to someone using a cold or a tummy ache to get out of designated household tasks, especially when I was regularly cleaning her messes for weeks when I was basically bedridden with severe COVID. I'm also rather blunt, so I told this to her face. This has caused her to slowly extend her lies further and further about her health, because she requires my pity. She also hates her job and has been telling Pam to take care of her and cover her expenses so she can quit, because she's quote-unquote very ill. She wants to be jobless again so she can spend her entire day playing video games like she's used to. The thing is, she's lying actively about all of her symptoms. How do I know this? Because I I've been feeding her the symptoms she's claiming to have. First, it was tummy issues, and then it was, oh, I have terrible brain fog. Then she was claiming to get lightheaded and dizzy, so I said maybe it's low blood sugar that causes you to get dizzy and lightheaded if you don't eat. Then she started using a blood sugar monitor and claiming it was dropping dangerously low. But I didn't pity her, and every time we ignored her and told her to eat better, she'd add a new symptom. She got to the point where she's pretending to faint every day, multiple times a day. She does this in hopes that we will let her quit her job and for pity. She went to a doctor and they told her that there's nothing wrong with her, but to monitor heart rate to see if anything was strange. She doesn't have to monitor heart rate, but I do. I lent her it, which I guess she doesn't know is connected to my phone and provides me updates. The first day wearing it, she claims that her heart rate went to 180, and wanting to see how she reacted, I said, oh, that isn't so bad, and then walked away. She proceeded to change the story to Pam and told her my heart rate went up to 180 and then I fainted, and when I came to, it was 250, which sounds like bull because it is. Her heart rate never exceeded 150, which is high, but it's not that high. Anyway, she claims random emergency high numbers that never line up with the data the monitor says. So I've confirmed that she's lying finally. The other day, she said she got to some insane number and I had had enough and called her out and told her she was bullshitting and there was no way her heart was doing that because she would literally have a heart attack. And that if she was fainting, it'd be way more believable and not utter bullshit if it went below 40. The following day was the first time it ever dipped below 50, and she showed me that number all proudly. I genuinely cannot figure out her end goal. It's so obvious that she's lying and making up symptoms. Not even the doctors she goes to believe her, and she doesn't even try to hide the fact that they don't from me or Pam, even when we're clearly skeptical. She's been skipping work constantly and barely gotten 15 hours in the past 3 weeks. The other day, every time I walked past Dee Dee's door, she'd stare at me while walking past, while fake crying, without making her expression change. And the second she thought that I was out of earshot, she would stop. The most surreal experience of my life. I told Pam about it and she went to talk to Dee Dee and gave Pam a sob story about how she wasn't going to make rent and that we would have to take care of her. Mind you, she should have plenty saved for emergencies. She never leaves the house and makes more than I do. She told us she had commissioned a VTuber model and spent all of her money on that. I'm just going insane. I try to avoid her, but she makes it my business. She won't leave me alone. Every time I talk to her, more lies spew out about her health. This person is a very good manipulator. The best advice for anyone in a similar situation would be money is one thing, but the price that living in this sort of situation can have is not worth it. This is a way to tell if someone is faking being unconscious. Basically, you hold their hand up over their head, and if you drop it on them, it won't cause them harm, but if they are conscious, then their hand will instead go over their head in order to not hurt them. OP says that they would try this, however, these fainting spells only happen when they're not home or at work. Pam has expressed feelings of being trapped and that they want to move in with Pam but not invite Dee Dee into a new place. However, Dee Dee was able to successfully manipulate Pam's parents, so likely they'll be able to live there if they end up without a place to live. Hopefully, Pam has a good relationship with their parents in a way that they can talk to their parents about what's happening. People with real health issues that cause your heart rate to speed up talk about how their heart rate can go up to 160, 170, but that doesn't warrant fainting. And that just because a person has a unusually high heart rate, that doesn't mean that they're incapable of work. And it doesn't just happen suddenly unless something is triggered, but it sounds like it was triggered by laziness in this case. It is extremely hard to fake a fainting disorder or any disorder, but especially when you are married. Dee Dee actually thinks that they're able to successfully manipulate Pam and OP. If your heart rate truly is going up as high as Dee Dee was claiming, it's not something that you can just look on your heart rate monitor and be like,
oh, okay, that's not great,
and then continue with your day. It's debilitating. You might have to go to the emergency room. This is a clear example of a story in which a person will use illness in order to get out of any situation, including cleaning, getting a job. It seems as though Dee Dee was in a spot where they felt incredibly uncomfortable working, which, I mean, like, I guess I can see if you're in a situation where it's like, okay, I have the option to fake a disorder or continue working, and you're like in this different headspace. I can see how you would do that. However, what, are you just supposed to keep up this charade forever? Medical professionals are detecting faking better and better, especially when it's medical, as in like you can see that it's not actually a problem in this case. case. Some red flags in my opinion are how Dee Dee's problems spawned kind of when they broke up, which if you put yourself in Dee Dee's shoes, you can see like, okay, what do I do in order to get Pam back? And intrusive thought can turn into your lifestyle. If you have gone through a similar situation by any sense, I am so sorry. Please take care of your mental health first. If a person is faking an illness, it's incredibly hard to change their mind, but it has to be their idea. Let me know you guys' opinions on this story. I feel incredibly bad for both of these people. I can't imagine what it's like living in a situation like that. Make sure to comment below your favorite color. Mine is probably like a seafoam green, as you guys can always see. It's kind of green. Newly, it's kind of purple though. I've been into purple lately. It's been green since I was like a child. You know how hard it is to change your favorite color. Or like a mint. Anyways, make sure to comment below. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. If you made it all the way to the end, amazing. Literally, thank you so much. Thank you so much to each and every one of my members. You guys are each beautiful human beings. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on, because you know that I love to go live without scheduling it because I'm so sorry. Have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.